The whole number 5, the decimal point is right here. So you could say it's 5 or 5.0. So the decimal is invisible at the end. What is this place called also? Ones. Okay, if I add some decimal places here. Okay, what's this place called? Tens, hundreds, thousands. And then when you go this way, it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths with the TH. Because this is 348 thousandths, it means that's what it's worth. It's worth like a fraction. Whoops, thousandths. Anyways, the reason I mention that is because part of the directions are rounded to the hundredths place. So what's the hundredths place? The 4. If I'm rounding the 4, which number do I look at? The thousandths, the 8. So is the 8 big enough? Is this closer to 0.34 or 0.35? That's kind of what we're saying. 5. If this is 5 or bigger, this rounds up. Okay. Now I could put a 0 back here, but zeros at the end of decimals do not have values, so you can just drop it off. Okay. What does percent mean? Okay, put your pencils down, pay attention. What does percent mean? Per 100. Percent means 100. You guys think of a word that has cent in it? Centimeter. What else? Centipede. Century. You guys know what a century is? 100 years. Centurion. I think that's all I know. Centennial, bicentennial, centennial, yeah, that would be 100 years, I got 100 year celebration. Yeah, anyway, percent means per 100. So this is literally worth 28 out of 100. Of course, if that was a grade, that would be not great. But just like all fractions, if you can reduce, you need to reduce it. These both divide by 4. If you're not sure whether it reduces, you can just put it in your calculator, put equals. And how do I change a percent to a decimal though? Okay, right now there's an invisible decimal at the end. And what you're going to do is move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 28% is equal to 0.28. Which 0.28 means 28 hundredths. Because this is the hundredths place. So anyway, same thing. Okay, what if I have, let's say 5%? What is this as a, let's go fraction first. What's this as a fraction? 5 over 100, which reduces if you divide by 5 to 1/20th. And what is this as a decimal? 0.05. Right, move it twice, so it's not 0.5, it's there's a blank spot right there, so it's 0.05. Okay, and let's do one more of those. 341%. What's this as a fraction? 341 over 100. And what's it as a decimal? Right, 3.41. So, yeah, all right. And, okay. Let's go the other way. 0.27, what's this as a percent? So we're starting with decimal, going back to percent. So when we went from percent to decimal, we moved the decimal left twice. So now we're moving it right twice. 0.27 is 27%, which is 27 over 100. Okay, how about 0.03? What percent? 3%, which is 300. And how about 2.7? Right, 1, 2, there's a blank spot, 270%. You guys know what 270% means? Let's say I have $50 and Triton has 200 or $100, then he has 200% of what I have. Just means like 2 times. 2 is worth 200%. So, anyways, this would be like 2.7, 2 and 7/10, something like that. Over 2 times as much. Anyway, so this would be 270 out of 100, and that would reduce, the zeros would drop off. Okay, last one, last kind, I guess. 5/8. Okay, are you guys listening?
Yep.
Okay, how do we change 5/8 to a decimal? Eight doesn't go into 100. You do 5 divided by 8. The fraction bar is also a division bar. What your calculator would spit out is 0.625. Well, yeah, it might spit out a fraction, but you need to hit the decimal button to change it. But 0.625, and then what's that as a percent? 62.5%. So there can be decimals inside of percents. It can be a little bit confusing. Like sometimes on your homework, somebody will get like a 19.5 out of 20, and I'll write that's a 97.5%. So, anyways, yeah. Let's go ahead and jump in. Keep moving here. We didn't learn everything. There's kind of a lot to unpack, but we talked about 1 through 10 already, so I think we're ready to go. 69%. Who wants to go for 2 volunteers for tribute? All right. We'll go
Is
this.
that Hunger Games reference with the tribute? The volunteers for tribute?
Yes.
That
I watch Hunger Games every night. That's why. I'm kidding. Okay, Kenzie, what would that? Okay, if they give us a percent, we have to put a fraction and a decimal. If they give us a decimal, we're putting a fraction and a percent. So we have 2 answers. There's not really work to show on 1 through 10, so you don't have to, but on the next section there is something to do. So Kenzie, what's this as a fraction I get? Or 0.69 and 69 over 100. On the fraction, make sure it doesn't reduce. Basically, if 2 and 5 don't go into it, it's not going to reduce. Because those are kind of the prime numbers that go into 100 or 2 and 5. Anyways, yeah, it doesn't reduce. If you're not sure, put it in the calculator, hit equals. If it stays the same, it does not reduce. So, that and that. Number 3, 70, you guys might recognize this one. It's a popular one, 75%. Let's go Rain's direction. Rain, what is this as a decimal? I just ruined Leah's day. Point, what'd you say? Oh, okay, I thought you said 0.25. You guys know this one by heart? What's 75% as a fraction?
3/4.
Yeah, because like 75 cents is like 3/4 of a dollar, 3/4 out of 4 for dollars. Okay, you could put 75 over 100, but you don't get credit unless you reduce that to 3/4. So it's 0.75 and 3/4. You guys probably recognize number 5 too, because it's also like quarters. So we're starting as a decimal. Leah, what would this be as a percent? 25%. Just move a decimal a couple places. And then what's that as a fraction? 25 over 100. And what does that reduce to? 25% is what fraction of a dollar, you know? No. It's a 1/4 of a dollar or 1/4 of a dollar. That's why a quarter is called a quarter, because a quarter means 1/4. But yeah, you can just, if you're not sure, just put your, basically what we did was divided both of these by 25. But you don't have to do that. You can just put this in your calculator and then just hit, as a fraction, and hit equals, and then it automatically would reduce it for you. All right, number 7. go percent first. What would this be as a percent? Right. Move the decimal twice. That's way over here, so it's a blank spot. 350%. And what's that as a fraction? Okay, yeah, it starts out as 350 over 100, but it does reduce because 50 goes into both of those to 7 over 2. (15/2). Bella, do you remember, what did we say? How do we turn a fraction to a decimal?
15 by 2.
15 divided by 2. Does anybody know that off the top of their head? Or maybe Bella does.
I already did the
7.5. 7.5. It's like 7 with a remainder of 1, so 7 1/2, 7.5. And what's that as a percentage?
750.
750%. Okay, next section. Let's read the directions and pay attention so I don't have to repeat myself. Write the appropriate percent equation and solve. This is new. We haven't talked about this today. You likely did it last year, but I'll teach it as if you haven't done it before. Round decimals to the nearest hundredth. What was the hundredth place? Second decimal place. And percents to the nearest whole percent. What do they mean, whole percent? Well, remember whole numbers are like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should end, we're rounding to the ones place, basically. A whole number rounds to the ones place. No decimal places if we're doing percents. Okay. So, do you guys remember, this is way back from chapter 1, what does the word of mean? Multiply. So, of is used with percents and fractions, like what's 30% of $200? Okay, so that means times. What did the word is mean? This is from last chapter. Equals. So, what we're going to do is translate all of these sentences into math equations. So number 11 just says 84% of 120. Okay, and if it's a percent, 84% is not worth 84. So probably the best way to handle this is to change our percents into decimals so that we can plug it in the calculator. Actually, a lot of you probably have a percent button somewhere on your calculator. You can try to find it if you want to. But it's not hard to convert this, yes?
We wrote 120, it's supposed to be 150.
150.
Yeah, there it is. It's on the parentheses.
What? Who? Okay, gotcha. All right. Yep. Rain, you're supposed to go to Mr. Zamora's office. You know where that one is? Okay. You do.
Of course he did.
Was it 150 or 120?
150.
150, all right. Okay. Have we done you? Okay. Do you remember what 84% was worth as a decimal?
Would be 8.4.
No, you gotta move it twice.
0.8.
Yeah. I guess we could do fractions, but that would be harder to plug in the calculator. And what does of mean?
Multiply.
And then there's 150. So that's basically it. Now they're all a little bit different, but they do one step. It's not really equation. I mean, we could add an equals there, but what's that come out to? Does anybody plug that in? 126. I should have asked this before we answered that. 84% of 150, like, should that be bigger or smaller than 150?
Smaller.
Smaller. Because you're just saying like most of 150. That's basically what that means. So most of 150, 126. Your answer should make sense to the problem. Okay, actually, there's kind of an issue with the odds and the evens on this one. One of the type of problems is 12, 16, and 20. But they didn't put one on the odds. They all say what percent. Okay, which means we need to change our answer at the end into a percent. That's what that means. Let me write this down real quick. You do them kind of like normal. These are all, you know, pretty close to the same. They're slightly different. 76. Okay, so 18, let's see, where are we at? Pearson, what did is mean? Okay, what percent, what do you think we're gonna put for what percent? X. Let's put I'm gonna put a P because we probably need a reminder that we need to change that answer to a percent. But you can put X, doesn't matter. What did of mean? Times. So once you get it set up, see how it's like a really tiny equation? So it's not, after you set it up, it's like one step left. So what would we do to solve for P? By the way, P times 76, usually we write that as 76P. Doesn't really matter though. Or what would we do to solve Pearson? Divide by 76, not 18. Divide by 76. And what's that come out as? 0.236. Okay. 0.236. Yeah, so we got a couple problems. We're supposed to round it off to the hundredth place. And we're supposed to change it to a percent. Doesn't really matter which one we do first, I guess. So what would 0.236 round to if we're rounding to the hundredth place? 0.24. Okay, which is, yeah, 24%. So if you only put 0.24, I'd have to take half off because the problem said what percent. So you have to go all the way to 24%. The hundredths place and the 1% place is the same place. So you're kind of rounding it the same way either way. All right, 13, 58% of what number? Now, you don't have to copy the problem down. I'm just writing it down so I can point at it while we go through it. But you do have to write the equation. You do not have to write the problem. 58% of what number is 40? You get a little bit warm in here.
Yes.
Now I know what Luke feels like.
What?
No, the other Luke, he's always hot. He's always like, we need to turn the AC on. And it's like 60 degrees in the room. And
It's close.
Who has control over the whole thing? 'Cause you guys can change.
I can change it, but it's in the hall and it affects all three rooms.
We should turn it to like 50.
Three.
Please.
The three rooms on this side of the building.
Yeah, maybe if we open the vents. That
The
helps.
vents are open, it's just not
That
on.
one's
Well,
shut.
Mr.
That's right.
Frederick's room is hot.
Okay, let's see, what are we at? All right, Wentworth, what's 58% turn into?
Wait, I did.
What does of mean? What are we gonna turn what number into?
Don't hurt yourself.
Let me put, okay, so instead of putting like times x, obviously that's not a good way to write it, right? So maybe just put a x right next to it. That means times. Is means, all right, did you guys see how we set that up? Once you set it up, it's easy. Cause what do we do to solve this?
Divide by 25.
And did anybody plug that in the calculator yet?
It's 82.758.
Alright, so we're rounding to the hundreds. So that's gonna turn it, is that closer to 0.75 or 0.76? 0.76, so 82.76, is that right? I don't remember that answer. Yeah, that's right. Okay, 15 is more like number 11, 50% of 3/4.
Do we now have to put these in percentages?
Okay.
We just did.
Number, no, we didn't. Number 12, 16, and 20 all say what percent. So those three you do need to change to a percent. This one just said what number. So I did not change it to a percent. If I did change it to a percent, do you guys know what it would be? Because it's kind of like number 16.
82.76%.
No, it would be 8,276%. Number 16 is kind of big like that, though. 16 is in the thousands of a percent. Okay. Triton, what is 50% as a decimal? So here's where the decimal starts. Where's it going to go?
I was gonna go to backwards,
Yep. So that becomes
0.50.
0.50, or you could call it 0.5, the same thing. And what did of mean?
Times, which you'd put just an X.
Yeah, X, little dot. So 0.5 times 3/4. I guess you guys know 50% is also a half. So you can do like a half times 3/4. Doesn't matter, same thing. Well, actually we've been putting decimals on these, so okay, no, that's not right. It's 3/8, which is 0.375. Okay, I guess we should round to the hundreds place, so
What?
0.38. Well, I started with the fraction, but actually all these problems we've been doing decimals, because decimals and percents kind of go together. I guess this is kind of a fraction problem. I would take either one.
What did you, why'd you turn it into a fraction?
Because it was easier to do that my 1/2 times 3/4 in my head, but then 0.5 times 3/4. 0.5 and 1/2 are the same thing. All right, number 17. 175% of 18,900. Is 50, nope, is what number? Yeah, of course that makes sense. All right, Katie, what is this percent gonna change into?
1.75
Yep, 1.75 of,
of 8
what does of turn into though?
times.
Times 18,900 turns into equals, and what number turns into variable? X in whatever letter you like to use. Okay, do you guys get all that? So that turns into that, turns into that, that stays the same, that turns into equals, that's the variable. Okay, and then what would we do to solve this? Yeah, that times that equals our answer. So just multiply those together. Oh, the AC was just on, wasn't it? We should have opened the other vent. Missed our chance. Maybe I think we'll stop at 20 today since tomorrow's a little bit easier. We are gonna do the word problems though. But I was just gonna say we
Why
wouldn't.
don't you switch the screen?
I didn't, it's just, my sleeve touches it sometimes and it keeps changing. Alright. Wait, I already did 17, is this?
It's 19.
What was 7?
We did 7.
17 is
It was
15.
33,075 equals 20.
I must, did I undo or something? What happened?
17 is 15.
Huh?
Huh?
Wait, what?
17 is 33,075.
And I know I wrote that down, I just kinda
Oh, wait, we
disappeared.
did.
19 is 10% of what number? Hopefully you guys got 17 because it disappeared off the face of the earth. I wonder if this is, oh, this is first hour. That's why. I'm gonna keep scrolling, I guess. There it is.
You see that's good both the top pages.
Sometimes I think my sleeve like brushes it, it's just really sensitive or something. I don't know. You can actually somehow, I guess it's from an electric charge, because if you get like super close without touching, it can still move it, but you have to be like a millimeter away, which is really hard. 10% of what number is 50?
Did you say we're not getting a 20 quiz?
We are tomorrow. Not today. Tomorrow. So if you want to work ahead, then you can get on that. All right. Let's see. Hallie, what's 10% turn into? 0.1 or 0.10, that's fine. Of what number? Okay, yeah. 0.1 times x or just 0.1x is equals 50. So how will we solve this? Divide 0.1. Yeah, dividing by a tenth is like multiplying by 10. So, yeah, that's 500. How about I check number 2 and 14 if you get there.
I have a question on 16.
Okay. So it's 482, and then what do you put after that?
24
Now what does is turn into?
Okay, you're
equals.
Yeah. And then what does what percent turn into?
What percent of 40?
No, the phrase what percent, what do we turn that into in our equation?
No.
Let me go back to the, remember this one?
18
Is what percent
would be P.
of means times. 76. So P times 76, I just put 76P. Okay, so on number 16, 482 is turns into, no, is, the word is equals, what percent, no, what percent turns into
Oh, T.
P, of turns into,
76.
no, of turns into times,
Oh, yeah.
and then the 24.
So do we have to change it to a decimal before we do the 482, or do we leave it?
Yeah, you change it to a decimal first.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. So, when you go to solve it, you'll get a decimal,
But you don't have to change it to
and you have to change the decimal to a,
percent.
percent.
Okay.
you have a question or bathroom?
I think I might-
Yeah, you can go. I was thinking rain might be in there, but I guess not. Alright. Good.
Do we change percentage into a decimal or fraction?
On this section,
Yeah.
you should have, whatever it is, you change it to the other 16.
Oh.
So,
Wait, it's kind of like 2000. It comes out.
so the decimal starts after the 7, so if you move it twice.
42 times. 42.
You got too many zeros there. So this is just kind of a 1. It doesn't matter that
And then you change your answer.
what is, right, 36%. Well, you wrote it right, but you got the answer wrong. So because these are on the same side, not on different sides, like if this had been 0.36 n equals, yeah. I'm just telling you, but they remember choosing that thing. Okay, what's 36%?
You got another, the mirror?
Oh, okay. Okay, so what is like the x? These are x.
Wait. Who's your teacher?
Well, if it is, though, you're supposed to round it to the nearest percent. Very good. You got 2 right, by the way. So did you? You tried 2? This one's wrong. Wait, it starts. Okay, it starts as this.
They have more stability, but they don't like that.
So, how do we change it from a percent?
Oh, yeah. That's what I was like,
Yeah, that's 1.8 gas. It usually buys some research or something before you do it. You go through them.
Are we doing 21, 23 tomorrow?
Yes.
So this isn't due until Friday?
Right. Kind of Wednesday is kind of like that anyway. What's it says? What's it say about that?
I think you should be here for the link.
Oh.
I think you should get that.
No, percent's changed. Then what we're gonna do is solve this. Okay, so 2080 is red time. Bro. How do you get rid of that? On these black and white calculators I have. This. If it did it would show. Okay, it's 80% of what number? So what should we put for the what number? Yeah, it's just of what number of the x. And it is.
Huh?
What are you guys gonna do? Yep. I know we spoke about it. Oh, shoot,